YouTube friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. My name is Kim. Well, my government name is Marie, but most of my friends or co-workers knows me as Kim. I am a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for the past 2 years. I am 25 years old. I am a mother to 3 beautiful children, and I am married. The purpose of this video is just to do an update on my life as a registered nurse, a mom, and now that I'm doing travel nursing during the pandemic, I've received a lot of questions asking me about my journey into becoming a registered nurse. Nursing was not always my first career choice. As a little girl, I've always wanted to be a pediatrician. I was so set on medical school. I was like, I'm going to medical school. I want to do my residency in pediatric. I want to be a pediatric nurse. A pediatric doctor, a pediatrician. But that was not the goal that God had for me. And our plans are not always God's plan. So we just live according to his plan and his purpose. So I went to the University of South Florida in Tampa. My major was pre-med, but one reason or another, I can't remember why. I don't know if it was one of the classes, because I had to take like biochem, chemistry, and all these chemistry classes were not for me. So I switched my major to health sciences and with a concentration in behavioral health care. So my second goal was to go ahead and go to graduate school and get my master's in social work. That did not happen. When I graduated, I got my bachelor's. I started looking for a social work job that would apply you with a bachelor's. And the current call center I was working at was paying more than what I would have gotten paid as a social worker. So I looked into registration to work as a registration clerk. I tried to work as a registration clerk in the hospital, and they were like starting me at $12 an hour. And at that point, I already had my first child. So I was like, for me, my husband, and my daughter, that would not have been sufficient enough to take care of, as an adult. You have rent, you have a light, you have cable, water, internet, phone bill, insurance, you name it, the list goes on. So that was not going to be enough to take care of us. So after I've had my first child, I decided, okay, I could go to nursing school. So nursing school was not always my first choice, but it was God's calling for me. So I was open to going into nursing school. So to get into nursing school, I took my T's, and of course I scored high enough. With God's help, I scored high enough to be able to go into the accelerated bachelor's program, which was about 18 months. So I did go to Rasmussen University. And I think right before I was set to start the semester, I got pregnant, and I found that I was pregnant with my second child. But I was like, hey, that's not going to stop me. I don't think being pregnant should stop me from going into nursing school. So I struggled. I started getting sick, like just, regular pregnancy symptoms, nausea, but nothing too crazy. So I think I found that I was pregnant around October, and I was set to start nursing school in January of the following year. So come January, I started school. The first semester was fairly easy. It was just all the theory classes. So there was not clinicals. If there were clinicals, they were probably on campus. So there was not any hard clinical classes for me. The second semester, which I was about 5 months pregnant at that point, 5 to 7 months pregnant. I can't remember at that point. And I was basically pregnant. Everybody could see I'm pregnant. So I started struggling through class. And at that point, I was taking my hardest course, which was pharmacology. Pharmacology took a toll on me, but I had a great professor. She was very understanding. She was very accommodating. When I'm coming to class, if I'm late, she would just, hey, Marie, you're late for class. But she wouldn't like hold it too much against me. And to this point, I am very grateful to her. But I always had my assignments submitted on time. And I was still working. At that point, I was still working at my call center job that I talked about when I was getting my first bachelor. So I'm still at my call center job because they were helping me pay for school. So I was getting tuition reimbursement through my employer. But after I had my child, I took maternity leave from my job. And after that, I had to quit working. As a customer service rep where I was doing fraud or whatever. I stopped working there and I started working as a CNA. So working as a CNA, now I just had a baby. So my body's still getting adjusted. I'm still healing and whatnot. The baby's at home, so we're not, at night I'm not getting any sleep. And in the morning I have to go to clinicals for 12 hours, 7 to 7 at a hospital. And sometimes we'd go drive 30 to 45 minutes to a nursing home for a clinical. So it started getting rough. So I started working PRN at the local hospital as a patient care tech. Some places call it CNA, nursing assistant, nurse aides, anyways, whatever you call it. In the state of Florida, if you're in nursing school and you finish your first semester of nursing school and you've taken those nursing courses the first semester, you can work as a CNA under the title of a patient care tech. So I was working as a patient care tech, but then it started getting really busy, really tough on me, doing clinicals 12 hours, going to school and working 12 hours. So I had to quit my job as a CNA. So now, again, I was broke. So my husband was the only one working. So we were living off of one income. So life got really hard, but I had my eyes on the prize. I kept focused and saying, hey, this is going to set my family up for a better future. This is going to set my kids up for to be financially secure. So I was like, hey, if right now I have to struggle, live on a tight budget to get my degree, that's what's going to happen. So my husband was very supportive. My children, I was basically neglecting my kids because school was priority to me at that point. So I focused on my schoolwork. I did not have to repeat any courses. So once I quit my CNA job, I started working PRN for like a local agency doing substitute teaching. So they were only paying $11 per hour to substitute, but I did it. It was just extra income. It could help, pay the car note, pay car insurance, just to help around the house, get groceries. So I worked as a substitute teacher. So while all of this was going on, I'm still going through school. And towards my last semester, not my last semester, y'all would not believe this. In the middle of nursing school, I got pregnant again with my third kid. And I was like, you can't be serious. So I was pregnant with my third baby, which, again, I wouldn't change anything. I love my kids. I wouldn't change anything about having them for the world. So they are the reason why I keep going, or they're my drive, basically, to keep going and push and be great and be better in life. So I had my third baby. She was born October of that year, and I finished school in September, and I gave birth in October of the same year. So within a month, I gave birth. So my daughter, they were able to attend my pinning ceremony. She was barely a month, but I still went to my pinning ceremony, and she was there. All three of my kids and my husband, they pinned me. So that was a very special moment for me. After finishing nursing school, I went to two interviews for jobs. The first one was observation unit. I was like, okay, whatever job I get, I will take, because at this point, y'all know I was broke. So at this point, I'm like, I want any job. Anybody that's willing to hire me, I'm willing to start as a brand new nurse. So they gave me a job offer. And then the next morning, I went to another interview at the same hospital. And then they offered me the job, and it was the same pay. Don't get me wrong. It was the same pay. It was a telemetry transplant unit. So I was very happy to be able to start with a specialty. So I accepted the job offer, and I declined the observation unit because, observation is like you're getting patients in and out, and it's pretty busy. And it was a day shift offer, and the transplant floor was night shift, which would have been more conducive to my husband's work schedule. So I took the night shift job offer. I started working as a registered nurse in 2019. So I'm getting my experience. Again, it was tough. Nursing school does not prepare you for real life nursing. And if you've heard of nurses eat their youngs, I've experienced that firsthand. Not to say that the unit I was on, they weren't supportive or anything, but I felt within myself, I always felt dumb. I felt like I wasn't smart enough. I didn't know enough, or I kept asking dumb questions. And sometimes when you ask someone a question, they just look at you like, you should know this. So it was always hard for me to come out and ask questions. But one thing I knew for sure was that I would rather ask a dumb question than to cause someone's life, than to kill a patient or to harm a patient. So I would always ask questions, and I would always learn. Then come 2020, y'all know the C word happened. So once that happened, I took the opportunity to start travel nursing. So I took my first local contract, and it was just a typical med surg floor. I got there, I was like, oh, this is easy. I could do this. And it was like 1, 2, 3. Everything was clicking to me. And everyone said you need 1 to 2 years of nursing experience to do travel nursing. But I did it at like 8 or 9 months. It was under a year when I started doing travel nursing. But once I got to that unit, I was like, oh, it was just med surg. I was like, oh, I could do this because it wasn't a specialty. Remember, I started with transplant. So when I got there, people were asking me for help. They were asking me, hey, could you help me put this NG tube in? Can you do this IV for me? And I was like, oh, I know this. I'm not dumb. So it started clicking to me. So I was doing it. Then I finished that travel contract. Then my next one, I went to Texas, and I started getting the grip of it, and I started feeling confident. So now I just hit my 2-year mark of being a nurse. And now I'm starting to feel more confident in my skills. People are coming to me, asking me questions. I've precepted students. So I feel like my skills are getting better. My last 2 contracts, I've actually worked on the PCU floor, which is, the middle between med surg and ICU. So I'm kind of intermediate care. So I've been able to extend my skills, learn about the CPAP, the BiPAP machine. So I feel like I'm transitioning from the novice nurse to, not the beginner, but to the advanced. I wouldn't say I'm proficient in my nursing skills yet, because I think it takes like 5 years in a certain specialty to be considered an expert in your skills. But I think I'm working my way there. I'm still asking questions. I'm still willing to learn from the residents, from the attending, whoever is willing to teach me. I'm willing to learn. I've spoken with senior nurses who've been nurses for 20 to 25 years. I've been talking to them to get their advice. So I say all of that to say, nursing school does not prepare you for nursing, and your life challenges cannot stop you from achieving your goal. If you want to be a nurse, if you want to start going to nursing school, your age doesn't matter. Yes, I went to nursing school early, but it was not my first degree. It was not my first choice. And I've met people that went to nursing school in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, and they're successful nurses. And if you've taken the NCLEX and you failed it the first time, I've met people who've taken the NCLEX multiple times. That does not determine what kind of nurse you will be. It does not determine how well you're able to care for your patient. And now that I'm 2 years into nursing, let's go back. After my first year of nursing, I was like, okay, I need to further my education. I want to gain more commas behind my names, more credentials. So I went back to start my FNP program. So I'm currently enrolled in a nurse practitioner program. I just started my 2nd year. So I have 3 more semesters left, and I'll be sitting for my nurse practitioner board. So I am working hard. So right now I'm currently working as a travel nurse. I'm enrolled in school trying to further my degree. So I just wanted to post this video just to give some advice to whoever is questioning their journey, if they're smart enough for this journey, individuals who have many obstacles that are hindering them from accomplishing their goals. And if you have to take a semester off to regroup, to get your life together, to get childcare situated, to get your financials in check, do what you have to do. As long as you don't lose sight of the end goal, as long as you remember the reason why you started, the reason why you wanted to become a nurse. Again, nursing has brought me financial stability for my family. It has made sure that we have a set schedule, because as a nurse, you can work 3 days instead of 5, and you could work overnight if your spouse or your daycare or whoever is watching your kid works days, you could work nights. So it's very flexible. You could work weekends. So I just wanted to come over here and say hello, introduce myself, just speak a little bit about myself and how my journey has been to becoming a nurse. If you have any questions or if you need help with anything nursing related, I'm more than welcome to assist. My DMs are always open. Again, it was nice speaking with y'all. Bye.